Hey guys, Rhonda Dracoulis here, RK3 Designs.
And I'm Kenny Dracoulis, RK3 Designs.
We're gonna take a piece of MDF and make it look like a wow factor piece of granite. So tell me what you think, guys. Do you like this finish? Super easy, super recreatable. You could even do it with your husband. Don't be scared, move forward, and be creative.
I'm using a circle jig to cut out the top piece. Voila! Now I'm cutting the drop edge for the bottom. I'm making it 3 inches wide.
That's how you do a table.
When you do tables like this, sometimes the pieces don't exactly match up. So what I'm using now is a flush trim bit to get the two pieces together to make them flush. After I put the two pieces flush, then I use a 1/4 inch round over bit on top and bottom before I start carving out my edges. Here I am using a carving disc from Cuts-All to do my design on the edge. I'm mixing up some Bondo, and then I'm going to use that for the edges to give it some extra effects. After the Bondo dries, then I'm going to sand the edges with a 120 grit and get the edges smooth.
Alright, so I'm going to apply 2 coats of the Stone Coat Countertop undercoating. I'll lightly sand in between coats, let it dry for about 4 hours, and then I'll be ready to pour. Okay, so we have 2 coats of the undercoating. Now, I'm going to do some pre-coloring faux finish edging, knowing that I'm still going to have epoxy run over this. I want some of these colors to really pop from underneath the epoxy because it's going to be really thin. So I'm trying something new so that I have a little bit more time to work on my edges. I'm coming in here with a matte clear. You could also do this with a gloss clear. This just happens to be all I had. And I'm going to pre-do my edges. And what this is going to be, it's going to be kind of like a seal coat. And what this is going to do is allow me, when I go back with the other colors, for those colors to kind of slide instead of be sucked in by the paint. All right, we'll let that dry just a couple of minutes and we'll go to the next step. What we're going to do now, I have so much more control if I can get the color paint into the cup as opposed to just spraying it and having to worry about overspray on my surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in with the spray paint. Make sure you have a paper cup. If you do this in plastic, the paint's going to eat up your cup. All right, so now I have pure color, and that's what I want. You can definitely do this with an acrylic-based paint, but because I want to pour in just a 30 minutes or so, I'm going to use the spray paint because I know the epoxy can go right over that paint without any issues. Okay, so I already have my clear seal coat on. Now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add some color. This is not a glaze, this is actually a paint, so I'm not gonna have a lot of open time to remove like I would if I were doing a glaze. And I'm not really worried about getting it all off because I'm gonna come back over this with a white and hit my highs. I'm just trying to get it in the low area right now. So Rust-Oleum also has in little cans oil-based paints, and you can most definitely use that and not have to use the spray paint. Just a quick step, I had this on hand, that's why I'm grabbing the spray paint. Now let me show you the difference. If I wanted to just use spray paint instead of using it on the brush, I'm going to show you the difference in it. I've got a lot of overspray here, but you can most definitely pull it off and get almost the same effect. Bring in a little alcohol. It's absolutely whatever you prefer, but you will have quite a bit of overspray, and that's okay because we can address that here in just a little bit. Now it is a little faster if you want to do it with a spray can. You could even tape this off if you wanted to. Just giving you guys different options and different ways to do it. Okay, so we've let the first layer of the brown paint dry a little bit. Now, I'm gonna address my overspray. Also, I know that I'm gonna be tinting the color on this table to be an off-white creamy color. So I'm gonna come in with heirloom white, and now I'm gonna address very softly my edges on top. And now see how I'm coming back and highlighting these higher areas. So if you don't have to worry about a lot of overspray, then you can definitely use the spray can method when you're putting the low lights in. I have quite a bit of overspray right here, so I'm going to take care of that. Now, if you really want to get a lot of contrast, you can come in here with your glove, spray it on your glove, tap. Now you have a lot of contrast right there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry, probably 30-45 minutes, and then we'll put our first layer of epoxy, which is gonna be our color coat.
We're using Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So this piece is 7 square feet, and we use 3 ounces per square foot. Now, mix for 2 minutes. Make sure you hold your bucket, because if not, you can have an epic fail. And that's how it's done, old son. Okay.
Okay, so now Kenny's got it all mixed up for me. Now I'm gonna bring in my color. So what we're trying to do with this table is we want a very creamy, light colored background. And then we're gonna just add a few effects with some dark brown metallic. Actually, it's dark bronze metallic, and fracture it, and then boom, we're done. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the clear, and I'm gonna make me some accent color. And this is the dark bronze. All right, so now what I wanna do is
a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your butt. All I wanna do is a zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh.
Chill out. All right. I'm cooking here.
Debbie Downer.
This takes skill.
Skill.
So what I want to do, I'm not really sure about adding the brown opaque dye to my metallic. I want to darken that metallic, but I don't want to add so much dye that I take away the metallic. So what I'm going to do, instead of messing this little cup up, I'm going to actually pour a little bit in another cup so I can almost kind of make a decision without ruining all. Now see how little I put of the opaque dye in there? All I want to do is darken that opaque dye just to, oh, that's exactly what I wanted.
Ooh la la.
All right, so see the difference? But it just gives it a deeper color by adding a little bit of that bronze. So I like that. So I'm gonna pour that in there so I'm not wasting it. And then I'm gonna add just a tick more. So what I did is I took the dark bronze metallic powder from Stone Coat Countertop, and I added 1 drop of the Alumilite dark brown dye. So what that did is it deepened my metallic color without taking the metallic sheen away from it. All right, perfect. Okay, so that's gonna be our highlight. All right, so now I'm coming in with the rest of our clear with the white opaque dye. And I'm gonna tint this very opaque. I don't wanna be able to see through when I stir it. Okay, so I added a little bit here, but I'm gonna wanna add a little extra because right now we're still very translucent, and I want it to be more of an opaque finish because see, I can kind of see through that. So we're gonna add a little bit more. Now that we have tinted our epoxy very opaque white, I want to knock that bright whiteness off. So I'm going to add a little bit of heirloom white, which is going to give me that creamy base. That's the exact color that I'm looking for, more of like a buttercream. All right, I really like this color, but I want just a hair more cream. So now I'm gonna come back in with Navajo white and add just a little bit of that cream factor. This is what I was going for. All right. So I want a little bit of marbling in my color. So I've got the base color that I like. Now I'm gonna come back with a little bit of the heirloom and a little bit of the Navajo. And as I rub it on my surface, you'll see it kind of creates a marble finish. Okay, so we've torched out the bubbles. Now I'm gonna come back with a little bit of our paint. This is the heirloom, this is the Navajo, add just a little bit of just actual high gloss white, just to give us a little bit of depth. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of use our hands just to marble a little bit of the top and give us some background noise. Is starting to kind of do its thing, and it's developing its own kind of design. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of espresso, and I'm gonna wet my hand and get material on my hand here. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of espresso, not much. And now I'm gonna kind of faux the edge, knowing that the epoxy is gonna run and it's not gonna stay really dark. So I'm not really worried about the darkness of this because I know this epoxy is gonna run down. I'm just trying to get a little bit of material on the edge. Okay. All right, so now comes the fun part. I'm gonna take my highlighted color, which is the bronze metallic mixed with a little bit of that dye, and I am very, very randomly gonna start putting it on the edge or on the surface. Some areas can be thick. My lines are a little thicker. I don't want too much. I can always go back and add, but I cannot take all that color off. I'm gonna take my hand, very expensive tool here, and we're just gonna chop, but we don't want to mix. We're just hitting it, and we don't have to hit every little line.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, so let's leave it there for just a few minutes and then we'll go to the next step. How about that?
So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna bring this stick and we're just gonna drizzle some of this over the edge and let it give it some interest and just let it run right down the side.
So if you have some areas that are really thick with color, you can come back with your original color and you can drizzle that and really make those edges look real. Just by letting it all move on its own very organically. All right, now what we're gonna do.
Now what are you gonna do, Rob?
Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of the white.
Awesome.
And you don't have to add oregano. I like a little bit of the oregano. Actually, Kenny loves oregano. So we're gonna mist it very, very lightly with some oregano and some regular white. All right, so what we're gonna do very lightly, because now I wanna create more of a granite effect by using alcohol and spray paint and give it a fractured look. This is the white. Clear.
Ooh, that's nice.
Now it may look like I'm putting a lot of alcohol on the surface. I'm really not. One thing you want to be very, very careful is that if you put a lot of alcohol on your finish, it's gonna look really pretty for a few minutes, and then in 4 or 5 hours, all of that alcohol is gonna have to run off. It'll evaporate, but it's gonna cause your surface to actually meld and get super soft. So be very, very careful on how much of that alcohol you actually put on the top. Don't spray it and immediately judge it. Give it some time to do its thing, create a finish, and then if you need to go back and add, you can do it then. So this is one of those recipes that's, oh, it's so hard for me to walk away, but it's so simple that I have to walk away. I'm done. Super easy, super quick. So the next step we'll do with this table is let it dry, and tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to glaze my edges to really give that rock face an incredibly natural look. So after the glazing, we'll put a clear flood coat and this table will be ready to go. Now we can also choose to put a satin matte finish and go over the top with the ultimate top coat.
So tell us what you think. Would you want to keep it a high gloss finish or would you like it a matte finish? Give us some comments below.
All right, so check out our website, RK3designs.com, for all of the products that we used in this table. And also, give us a thumbs up if you think we deserved it, and ring the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, and remember, don't be scared, move forward, and be creative.